Hello my fellow MCs, Primo here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. Today, we are talking about the 5 things I wish I knew before reaching Trailblaze Level 50 as an F2P player. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, boot up some Honkai Star Rail, and let's talk about it. As an F2P player, it is essential to know what exactly you are spending your daily Trailblaze power on. I always say go for the guaranteed damage boost with traces over something RNG related like relics. Relics have multiple layers of RNG, and there's really no guarantee that you'll get anything of value with the Trailblaze power that you consume. Everything is based off of the one main stat that you get, the multiple substats, and how good those rolls are going to be. Now that's just a little bit too much RNG, especially in early game, for me to be comfortable to recommend farming. However, by spending on things like character Ascension materials and traces, you are guaranteeing that your characters will have a greater damage boost as you progress through the game. By using your daily Trailblaze power on relics, this may cause your account to struggle once you make it to the next equilibrium trial, as you spent all your Trailblaze power on potential relics that have no use to you and are just complete fodder. As you progress to the main storyline, you are going to get more than enough 4-star artifacts given to you through bountiful chests to supplement your team. Now I know that most of it is going to be the Musketeer and the Thief set, but at this point in the game, we are really just looking for solid main stats, decent sub stats. To clear most of the content in this game, you don't even need to level up those relics anyway. You just need something as a placeholder until you get to the most efficient Equilibrium and Trailblaze level. I know it may not be as exciting as going through those RNG rolls to hopefully get the God Piece relic, but we have to stay true and get the guaranteed damage boost. Leveling up your characters and traces also helps you upgrade the bonus abilities, which can provide some characters with a great utility or damage boost. An example of this is March 7th and Natasha, and both of them have a bonus ability where if you use your skill, you can get rid of a debuff that was put on by the enemy. This is really helpful when your ally gets frozen or knocked down because this can help them recover. Another more recent example that I personally have experienced is Jing Yuan with his crit damage bonus ability, which provides a 25% crit damage boost as long as the Lightning Lord has 6 or more stacks. This is a guaranteed damage boost to the Lightning Lord and Jing Yuan's damage output, and you cannot go wrong with upgrading this. In terms of the most efficient level to start farming 5-star relics, you don't even get a guaranteed 5-star relic till you hit Trailblaze level 40, and a 50% chance of a second relic at Trailblaze level 50. With it costing 40 Trailblaze power for only 1 gold relic, and at that point you're really just hoping for a great main stat, you're not even worried about the sub stats. In comparison to Genshin Impact, where it only costs 20 stamina for 1 5-star relic, so essentially in Honkai it's double than what Genshin was doing. It's just not efficient for your account as a whole to start farming 5-star relics at Trailblaze level 40 and even Trailblaze level 50, because again, you only have a 50% chance at getting a second gold star relic. Now my personal recommendation is to start farming relics at Trailblaze level 50, but if you really can't wait and you want to test your gacha luck, then you can go ahead and start farming relic at Trailblaze level 50. At least you'll get 1 guaranteed 5-star relic and you'll have a 50% chance for a second one. I know we all love getting those big damage numbers and showing those screenshots off to our friends, but especially in this game where every member in your party is susceptible to a hit, it is more important than ever to run a healer and or shielder on your team at all times. Characters like Natasha, March 7th, and Fire MC should be invested in immediately to help with the survivability of your team. Players can rejoice as these are free units that you get as you progress through the main story, and it will add a ton of convenience and survivability to your account. Now, if you're wanting to try your hand at the Forgotten Hall, you'll eventually come to a point where you'll need to have a second healer on your account. The reason for this is as you get to the latter stages, you will run 2 teams, and to mitigate enemy damage, you will need to have a healer on each team to help with the survivability of your team. If you have zero intention of completing the Forgotten Hall, then this next point will be of no interest to you. Ideally, you're going to have Natasha on one team and your second healer of choice would be on the other. Now, your second healer of choice or shielder can be attained a number of different ways. Locha comes out in version 1.1 in the second phase, and he is an imaginary healer that scales off of attack, so he is one very nice nice option that you can add to your team, or you can aim for the likes of Bailu or Gepard after wishing 300 times on the standard banner or losing the dreaded 50-50, but I think most people, especially this early, would not mind getting a Bailu or Gepard if you don't have Locha. Bailu is an awesome electric healer who has the ability to revive one downed character per battle, while Gepard is touted as the best shielder in the game as of version 1.1. For Genshin Impact players, you can kind of compare him to Zhongli. But again, investing in your Perseverance and Abundance characters is essential to give yourself more comfort as you progress through the story and as you go through the harder endgame content like Forgotten Hall and Memory of Chaos. In the very early game, when your resources are scarce and you're just accumulating character ascension and trace materials, your main focus should be on 4 characters for overworld purposes. Now you can see my last point on the Perseverance and Abundance characters to help you figure out which 4 characters you want to start building up. As you begin to progress through the Forgotten Hall and main story, you'll eventually need at least 8 characters, that's my personal recommendation, with different elements to be able to deal with the weaknesses of these new enemies that you are facing. Now, the reason why I recommend at least 8 characters built up with different elements is because I want to capitalize on the weaknesses of these new enemies that you're facing, and it will help you get those big damage numbers that you are wanting and clear content a lot faster. Now, I know some players may want to just ignore weaknesses, ignore the toughness bar, kill those enemies with just raw DPS damage, and I completely understand that. This game was based off of utilizing different elements, using multiple characters to capitalize on the weaknesses of these enemies and get that break on the toughness bar. This will also help your damage output overall for your team, as it will cause the enemy to not be able to attack for a certain number of turns. You can get more hits in, and it's in a weakened state. Thus, you can get higher damage output from your skills, your ultimate, or your auto attacks. Now, for those Genshin players that are coming into Honkai Star Rail, the level of thinking is that you want to build your DPS units and then slowly build your supports as needed. This game is definitely not on that same mind track. The reason why I say this is because healing and survivability is just as important as your damage output. Because of this, you want to build up your support and healing/shielding units in line with your DPS units, because all that is of the same importance. As an FTP player, resources for leveling up characters isn't really a big issue unless you are hunting for relics at a lower Trailblaze level. Like I mentioned in my first point, utilizing your daily Trailblaze power for the character ascension materials and trace materials will help increase multiple units at one time, be as efficient as possible, and help your overall damage output for when you verse harder content in the later stages of the game. I believe taking the time to understand character talents and team synergies will really help bring maximum potential to your account and help you enjoy the game a lot more. Creating a team dynamic where the character traces and style of play sync with each other can be much more beneficial for your account than plugging in 4 characters that do the most damage. Now, there are many different ways to set up a team. Some examples of this are hyper carry teams, speed teams, tank teams, and many more. Some things you want to consider when figuring out team synergy is skill point management, support versus DPS, fielding and shielding, and weakness break coverage. Now, this isn't for everybody, but my personal preference when creating a team is choosing my favorite character, which is more than likely a 5-star character that I most recently pulled, or a special husbando, then basing my supports and other units off of that one main character to deal with weakness breaks, skill point management, support versus DPS, all those different factors that go into building a great team and helping team synergy will all be based around my favorite character. Now, some examples of great team synergies are March 7th and Clara, as well as Welt and Don Hung. March 7th and Clara have great synergy with each other because they both work off of Clara's main damage output, which is her counterattacks from Mistress Farag. March 7th's shield has a unique ability to not only give protection from enemy attacks, but it also increases the chances that the ally that was protected by her shield gets attacked. This is especially helpful for Clara in triggering Mistress Farag's counterattacks as she gets hit by the enemy more often. Combine that with Clara's ultimate, which gives her a damage reduction, but also increases the likelihood of her being attacked, This causes Clara to be attacked way more often by enemies. It will also help the other units on your team survive as they won't be getting hit, and it will increase your overall damage output. Another great example of characters working off of each other, like I mentioned before, is Welt and Dan Heng. Both are primarily speed manipulation units, where Dan Heng's ultimate actually gets a 78% damage boost when attacking a slowed enemy. This works perfectly in line with Welt's talent / ultimate, which triggers a reduction in speed through the slowed state. This also can be triggered by Welt's skill. This creates a ton more potential damage output for Dan Heng, but it also creates skill point management increase for the overall team. Having a good understanding of how your characters work and who they work well with can help make your experience way more enjoyable and greatly help your account if you're struggling with taking enemies down. That team synergy is essential for creating a style of play that is enjoyable for you. It can help you clear content a lot faster, and it can help you strategize as you get through those long-winded battles. Now, this last point is more geared towards an F2P player and may not be as relevant for a dolphin or even a whale. But essentially what I'm saying is don't let the meta define your account. You define the meta within yourself. And that meta can mean a number of different things. But for general purposes, meta-defining characters are units that are consistently used and perform well in content like the Forgotten Hall and Memory of Chaos. Now, if you don't have any interest in doing content like that, then you really don't need to worry about what exactly is a meta-defining character. All of the characters that are playable in Honkai Star Rail are more than capable of clearing all of the overworld and story content with enough investment. If your favorite characters in the game are technically meta-defining characters, then hey, more power to you, right? But for those that really like certain characters, but other content creators say they are just okay or meh, don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. Just play those characters. As an F2P player myself, I've had a lot more enjoyment in achieving all of my in-game goals with the characters that I like playing, with enough investment and getting used to their play style and strategizing and figuring out the best team for them. Being able to clear that content based off of my preferences and my hard work has been really fulfilling for my account, and I get the most out of the game. If I am forcing myself to confine to the meta and pull for characters that I may not really want, but I know they're going to help me clear the game a lot faster, I personally do not find enjoyment in that. Especially this early in the game, by the time you reach Trailblaze level 50, you may have been able to reach Memory of Chaos. Other than that, you're very unlikely to have even cleared the first stage, myself included. Trailblaze level 40 to 50, the level cap is at 60, and those enemies that you are versing in the Memory of Chaos are 68 and above at the first stage. So there's just no way you're going to be able to mitigate that damage efficiently enough to be able to survive those hits. Now, this is assuming you haven't used all of your fuel to upgrade all of your characters and start hunting for those juicy 5-star relics. But as an F2P player, you really can't compare your progress and your account to those that are dolphins and whales, as it's just unrealistic to clear endgame content at the same pace. So again, like I said, enjoy your account, make it for what it is, invest in the characters you want to invest. If you want a husbando because they look good, then use them. You deserve to have the most fun. Don't let others dictate what you find fun at the end of the day. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tips video on the 5 things I wish I knew before reaching Trailblaze level 50. I know as an F2P player, it can be really difficult to gauge how efficient and good your account is, but at the end of the day, as long as you are having fun, that is all that really matters. I know we have a lot of new players coming in to join the hype that is Honkai Star Rail, and if you guys have found this video, I really hope this was helpful for you and you can know what to expect moving forward. If you guys like the content, please like and subscribe. Comment down below any other tips that you may have for new players. I really want this to be an open discussion, an open forum, if you will, for all players. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.